Oh, howdy all, grab yourselves a beer, it is time for some ExileCon discussion. Sorry about the shaky camera work, I've just gone outside after the main sessions today and having done a little bit of illicit RMT, picked up an IRL Exalted Orb from the gift store here, and it's a squish ball. So stress ball, if you're having a bit of a stressful day and you want to just squash and exalt, then that's what I've just picked up. In terms of news, we've had two major presentations. One was on 3.9 and one was on 4.0. Now, I think 4.0 is a long way off, so I wanted to actually talk about 3.9 first. 3.9 is two major updates. So firstly, there is, in one, so there is the Metamorph League, and I think it's worth watching the Metamorph trailer if you haven't seen it already. But basically, a quick summary is that it is a build your own boss type challenge. What you will do is you will, when you're going through a map, now there is some integration into the leveling content as well, but I'll talk about the end game side first. Assuming that you kill enough monsters in the map, you will get a tradable item that is, like, think of it as being basically an Einhar beast capture of the boss. Although it's not Einhar related, it's someone else. And essentially, you collect 5 of these. Sorry, just had to pause for a second then. I thought I picked a quiet area and I didn't. And so you will collect 5 of these map bosses, and then you will combine them into one endgame fight. This endgame fight will have the ability to rapidly shapeshift between the 5 different bosses, and ultimately you'll end up having to fight. It's not fighting all 5 of them at once. It seems easier than that, but it seems harder than fighting any of them individually. These will also have mods that they'll pick up that they'll inherit from the various components that you use. So these are the fights, and they will drop all sorts of rewards. The other thing that's really fascinating though, so that's the Metamorph League. The rest of the changes though are going straight to standard as well. And the entirety of the Shaper Elder conflict is being not quite retired, but almost retired. So basically no more Shaper influence on the Atlas, no more Elder influence on the Atlas. Instead, the Atlas is being divided into 6 different regions. You can level up these regions by fighting various bosses in them, and when you do fight these bosses, they will then provide you more ways to level it up higher, that region of the Atlas up higher. So if there's a region that has lots of maps in it that you particularly like, then you can focus on leveling that up first. At least I believe that to be the case. We'll find out exact details. There are 4 new factions. So at the moment where we've got Shaper and Elder items, and it's not possible to get a mod from an Elder item onto a Shaper item, all of the mod pools for these are being split into 4 pools instead of 2. So the Hunters are one of the factions. There are 3 other factions as well, and you'll be able to pick up a Hunter item, which will function somewhat like a Shaper item does now, except with its own mod pool, which is probably a little bit smaller than the Shaper pool. However, there will be Hunter's Exalted Orbs that can be used on any item, and there will also be a way to fuse/synthesize 2 different types of influenced items to get so that you can combine mods from 2 different pools. So essentially, think of this as being a slightly the ones that drop naturally, the Shaper and Elder items of the new type that drop naturally, will probably be less impressive than the ones that drop currently. However, there's more customization. There's the ability to pick up an item that is a Shaper item but that has an Elder mod on it, or as you know, the case will be with these new mods. This looks really interesting. I think that the whole moving Elder influence around the Atlas was getting stale. I have no idea what this means for Zana's quest chain, whether that will still exist in the game. There was a bit of discussion about the availability of the Shaper and the Elder in 3.9. Now, firstly, the bad news. I expect Watcher's Eye unidentified item level 86 ones, so the Uber Elder drops to be at least 10 exalts unidentified next league. So the reason for that is that the current plan to implement the existing tier 16 content is to have them be Zana mission locked. So when you run a Zana mission, you'll have a chance of getting a Lair of the Hydra map. It'll be the only way you can get a Lair of the Hydra map. And if you do that Lair of the Hydra map, you will get a fragment of the Hydra. You can then compile these to challenge the Shaper. You'll also be able to get a map that is that is occupied by an Elder Guardian, will be another option. And if you get that, then you will end up getting a fragment towards an Elder encounter. Or you can merge a set of Shaper and Elder fragments into an Uber Elder encounter. So that seems to be the only way that you can access the Shaper, the Elder, and the Uber Elder encounter now. This means that I think that even if you, like, well, one, your Zana missions are going to be much more important than they are in the current game, and two, you're really going to feel compelled to do them. You're going to feel compelled to do them, and in a solo self-found environment, I think you should probably count on not having access to any Watcher's Eye for a long period of time. Even if you're someone that normally is a 40 or 40 player and that feels that you can farm 10 Watcher's Eyes in a league, you're not going to be doing that in the future. However, there's an entirely new endgame as well that I think will be replacing that, so I'm really interested to see how all of that comes out. There's also a divination card that was announced for the Bottled Faith Synthesis Unique Flask, and probably a bunch of other stuff as well. Anyways, I'm going to leave it at that point now, because I definitely recommend watching the 3.9 trailer yourself. Both the Conquerors of the Atlas expansion and the Metamorph League ones, and let me know your own thoughts, because I'm sure that I've missed some things. Anyways, gonna leave it there and start working on a video about the 4.0 stuff, because that's really interesting too.